The Jedi have been reduced to near extinction. The Council has fallen. There are no more protectors, no more heroes, only survivors left. The fight has ended. The Jedi lost. It has been 5 years since Order 66, and the remaining Jedi are exiles, either dead, in hiding, or turned to the Empire. Yet hope has not been vanquished from this galaxy. The future of the Order now rests in the hands of a failed Padawan.
I'm Cal Kestis. I might be one of the last of my kind.
With the upcoming release of Jedi Survivor, I thought it would be interesting to take a look back at Respawn's first dive into the Star Wars universe. Here, you play as Cal Kestis, a Padawan survivor of Order 66, who at the start of the game has completely cut himself off from the Force, and is working as a scrapper on the Imperial-controlled world of Bracca. Yet after using the Force, he is caught by the Empire and forced off planet, beginning his quest to find a holocron with the names of various Force-sensitive individuals throughout the galaxy, with the hope of rebuilding the Jedi Order. The story here is very good, nothing you haven't seen before, yet everything is executed quite well. Cal Kestis is a likable lead and has a great deal of personal growth throughout the story. I really enjoyed how Cal isn't some overpowered Mary Sue right off the bat.
I'm all the Jedi.
The same can be said for the crew members of the Mantis. I specifically liked the direction they took with Seer and her relationship with the Force. This is the one instance in recent Star Wars memory where it actually makes sense that a character would cut themselves off from the Force. You know who I'm talking about. The game explores a relatively unknown period in the Star Wars continuity, that being the time between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, which was a good choice, as it offers more freedom in the narrative department. This game does a great job at fleshing out this time period, and I really liked all the new additions here, such as the 2nd and 9th Sister and Terran Malicos. Each of the new planets you explore feel authentic and fit the Star Wars themes, also mixed with some returning planets that you have seen in the films that are definitely done justice in this game. The fan service here is not overdone and fits the story quite well. In fact, in most cases it is used to further the narrative. I particularly enjoyed the flashback training sequences and Cal's reflection on Order 66. These really pack an emotional blow and do a great job at setting up Cal's redemption arc. It is in these moments that the game shines brightest, with one scene in particular near the end of the game that stands out above the rest. If you have played this game, you know what I'm talking about. The main antagonist, Trilla, effectively serves her role, with the cliche but ultimately well executed arc. And this is how I view Jedi Fallen Order as a whole. There are a lot of good systems implemented here, yet there is nothing that you wouldn't have seen before. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. From the Sekiro-like combat system to the Tomb Raider-esque platforming, everything here is well done and comes together to form a concise and enjoyable experience. I have always thought that Jedi were the perfect characters to translate into video games. They are not too overpowered, such as say Superman or the Flash. Jedi strike that perfect balance to where the player can still feel a sense of power and progression, while still realistically being faced with a great degree of challenge. And the developers can realistically implement their abilities and movesets without breaking the game. With that being said, how did the developers do in translating the combat and force abilities of the Jedi into a Souls-like combat system? In short, the combat in Jedi Fallen Order is its greatest asset, and what you will spend the majority of your time with this game doing. I really enjoyed the progression system here, with Cal unlocking new Force abilities as the game progresses, with each unlock having a great deal of narrative significance. The combat here is quite deep, with Cal unlocking a large variety of lightsaber attacks and force abilities. You have the base 3-piece combo, a lunge attack that can be performed anytime after the first slash, a powerful overhead that can be chained with a follow-up, a dash attack, and many more options, including a dual-bladed lightsaber with its own moveset. I really like how much more technical the lightsaber combat gets as you unlock more moves. This is what us gamers call ludonarrative harmony, where through gameplay, we can observe Cal regaining his skill with the lightsaber, and even improving past what he was as a Padawan.
By the right of the Council, by the will of the Force, Cal Kestis. Rise, Jedi Knight.
This merge of Force abilities and Sekiro-like combat works extremely well, allowing the player to pull off some impressive feats. Cal can slow, push, and pull his enemies to his position, and there is no one best ability here, with various situations and enemies requiring different force abilities and combat styles to defeat them, leading to some fantastic gameplay moments. The combat here is already quite deep and polished, and I cannot wait to see where they go with the sequel, although I am still waiting on the Jedi Knight spiritual successor. Speaking of combat, how does this translate into the lightsaber duels? In my opinion, these are the highlights of the experience. Each encounter here is spaced out to keep the feeling of surprise and intensity, and there is a nice build-up before each encounter. Learning the enemy's moves is quite enjoyable, and on the Grand Master difficulty, I found it very challenging, especially as the bosses got into their final movesets. I feel like I have talked about this in nearly every video, and it should be the standard with current hardware available to AAA developers. However, this game truly is stunning. From the game's dense and expansive planets, to the way your lightsaber will leave slashes upon your environment, everything here looks great and has a high attention to detail. Not much more to be said here, one of the best looking games I have played in recent memory. While I really did enjoy this game, there are definitely some problems that need to be addressed in the sequel. I don't know if it was just me, but I found that some of the maps were somewhat challenging to navigate, and I think much of this has to do with the lack of an ability to set waypoints or fast travel. I found the map itself to be very difficult to manage, and I would often go in loops trying to find the right pathway to my next objective. The 3D system implemented here just doesn't work for me, and from what I have seen, many others had the same complaint. Maps should be there to make traversal easier, but I found that in many areas, trying to use the map would end up with me further away from my objective than when I started. And this is quite a problem, especially when you consider the lack of fast travel, which I understand the reasoning for not being in the game, yet when the map and level design are poor, it makes it far more desirable to have implemented. Hopefully this poor design will be improved upon in the sequel. Another area where Fallen Order is lacking is the lack of any meaningful customization. The ability to change lightsaber colors and the various parts are a nice touch, yet there is only one outfit for Cal, with only the ability for minor color changes, and no Jedi robes in a Jedi video game. There is so much potential here. How about some Clone Wars armor, or any of the various skins from the films? Unfortunately, this lack of customization led to me just rocking the basic outfit for nearly the entire game, as I saw no reason to explore every nook and cranny just to gain a color change for my poncho or the mantis. Thankfully, this seems to have been remedied in the sequel. Jedi Fallen Order is an exceptional game. While not particularly groundbreaking in any way, it offers a smooth, condensed experience with a great story and excellent combats to keep the player engaged throughout its 15 to 25 hour runtime. This is a title I would recommend to any gamer, even those who, like me, have had a hard time getting into the Souls-like games, especially if you are a fan of the Star Wars universe.